money-grabbing lunatics.
I thought you were going to say something else there.
No. Beep. Right, to Geordie Journos, here we are, Humberside, Hull, just watching Newcastle United, of course, win.
Football's back.
It is back.
Come on, you.
I know. I felt like my creative juices were flowing into us. Oh, people complain about this when I look back at yous, don't they? So we'll better shuffle back. Yeah. Should we get the T's and C's out of the way early before we actually talk about what we've just witnessed? Like, comment, share, subscribe, you know where it is. Do give this video a little like if you like the type of content that we do. There's a little thanks button down there. If you love the Geordie Journos content, you can donate, and everything that we ever raise through this channel goes back into the channel to try and make these videos slightly better than the last one before. We'll try, it's not always the case. Four Rivers Financial Planning will be in one of these corners if either of these two guys remember to stick it in there. And it'll be downstairs as well.
It's all Dom's fault, not mine.
If you need any, that wasn't a dig, I can't remember which one. I can't remember which one he puts it on. And then obviously if you need any financial advice, pension advice, just check out Four Rivers. They'll be more than happy to hear your call. Right, where we're starting then, Dom? What happened out there was you are really quite energised, I thought, today.
It was nice. I mean, it's been a tough summer in many ways. Newcastle, it's been tough behind the scenes there. Transfers haven't really been forthcoming. Every transfer that's happened really has either been a sort of box tick transfer or something we knew that was happening from the back end of last season, in the case of Lloyd Kelly or Lewis Hall. So yeah, today it was just a good run out, a classic pre-season opener, a bit of rust, but Newcastle were comfortable in the end. We're talking before the game saying, look, the young lads on the bench, the starting lineup, it was a strong starting lineup, but as strong as Eddie Howe could have named, because there was 19 players still missing. It was a big when you see the starting lineup. I think most people, like what everyone else felt out there, it's by the time we watch, it's less than 3 weeks to the start of the Premier League season. Yeah. That was the best team Newcastle United could put out on any given day. Obviously there's reasons for why some players, particularly high profile ones, aren't around, and they will come back, but it was a bit concerning. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pre-season. I mean, playing Jamie Miley his full debut, Lewis Hall in centre midfield, Jamal Lewis, who was on loan in the Championship last season, those three starting in where they started is obviously interesting. And then the bench,
Kraft playing centre half.
Yeah, which he did in the Premier League, I suppose, a few times last season.
For me,
it's not ideal.
No.
If he's on the pitch, you'd say it's not ideal.
Yeah, and that's nothing, it's never anything personal for me, but I said this to Jordan when we were sitting watching it. If that centre-half partnership has to play any length of time in the Premier League for Newcastle United next season, there are clouds.
Well, that back four won't play in the Premier League. No. There's no chance, really.
No, and I hope that's known. I hope that's sort of like, there can't be an acceptance that is good enough, because it isn't. I
thought the front three was as strong as Newcastle could name. You had Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, Alexander Isak, and I thought Alexander Isak took his goal well. I thought Jacob Murphy was the best player on the pitch by an absolute mile. Everything good Newcastle did came from him. But then, on not wanting to be overly critical in pre-season, I thought Harvey Barnes was one of the worst players on the pitch in terms of what you expect from him.
Go on, Dom.
Get it on. I'm just thinking, on that opposite side, it was second game back of pre-season, just a little bit sluggish, kept forgetting the ball, getting it stuck underneath his feet. He got in some good areas, just never came off him. And then you look at Jacob Murphy on the opposite side, who's probably a player where you go, yeah, he's probably further down the pecking order than Harvey Barnes because of...
controversial opinion.
No, I'm saying because of the price tags and transfers attached to them. Harvey Barnes was bought for a significant fee last summer with a good reputation, scoring goals, and I think...
You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, but Harvey Barnes, probably injuries and things like that, probably shoved himself or shoeboxed himself as a impact sub, and I think not wanting to go too far based on 60 minutes or whatever he played in pre-season at Hull, but based on the past 12 months, that's probably his limit.
The jury's still out on Harvey Barnes. People might not agree with that.
I think that's his limit at the moment.
He's a 20-minute
if the club keep keep progressing.
Yeah.
He's a 20-minute finisher, isn't he? That's look. I think
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think we're seeing anything. No, I think you need them. But to pay £40 million for one, when you need to strengthen your team,
got PSI issues.
wasn't really the best of business. But look, that was a long time ago, and they have to move forward. What they need to do now is make sure they start improving other areas.
Oh yeah,
and going back to the Jacob Murphy thing, I think he's more valuable in Newcastle United's team than Harvey Barnes is, in my opinion. I think he's more reliable. I think you can get a more consistent performance out of Jacob Murphy. And this is going over it and saying Jacob Murphy needed replaced. And he's probably needed replaced almost every year in terms of first team quality. If you want to step into the top 4, if you want to be there and stay there.
He's found a place in Newcastle. He's started 11 in the last 3 or 4 months.
He's an excellent squad.
Whereas Harvey Barnes in a battle. Harvey Barnes in a battle to get ahead of Anthony Gordon. So that's different to me. I mean, we were joking about it, but the assists that Jacob Murphy's got in the last, what was it, 10 games?
It's 8 games. I mean, 3 of them have been friendlies, but I think it's something like 6 assists and 3 goals.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, look, pinch of salt in friendlies, but hey, he ended the season with, I think, 4 assists and a goal in the last 5 games. So yeah,
I want to qualify the Barnes stuff with the fact is literally anything can change in this, and it would not make me. It would make me so happy to see him come out at the end of the season having scored 15 goals and be a player who really is knocking on the door, because it's going to take some player to get Anthony Gordon out of that team. Let's be honest about it. But if we've got Harvey Barnes really pushing him, or even pushing a different position, or getting starts on merit rather than just because he's needed, then I'd be absolutely over the moon.
Yeah.
And he's got the ability to do it. We're just not really seeing it.
He just needs to. Yeah. But I feel like if you go back to last season, he didn't play an awful lot last season, but all his best performance, with possibly the exception of Brentford on the final day, came off the bench.
Yeah.
All the times he scored, even. He needs a good run out from the start and a good performance from the start, and he's been here 12 months, obviously missed a lot of games through injury. We just need to see it. I think it's a big season coming up for Harvey Barnes if he wants to move on from what we've just stated being just an impact sub. He has the ability to be more than that, but I think he's risking shoeboxing himself into that.
You're a big fan of what you've seen from Lewis Hall today, weren't you?
I thought he was excellent. I call him makeshift midfielder. I know he's played there throughout his youth career, but I just thought he made a tick in midfield. To be honest, he was sort of the Bruno role, if you like. I think obviously the deeper the midfield 3, but brought real energy, drove the team forward, spread the ball out right and left. Showed his defensive side as well. I think there was at the end of the first half when he's made a really good challenge on the edge of the box. I thought he was excellent. I think for a player that probably looked miles off it last season when he was in the start 11, certainly the first half of the season, I think he's a really exciting player going into the season. I think if you want to try and pick out best players of pre-season, we're only of course 2 games in, but if he continues that level in Tokyo in the Salah weekend, he is a contender for being the sort of the standout of pre-season. I thought he was excellent today. If it wasn't for Jacob Murphy's goal and assist, then I think Lewis Hall would probably be my man of the match, to be honest.
I was quite surprised to see him played in midfield. I think I said that before the game. We were trying to work out where everyone was going to play.
Yeah.
I think I said to you, didn't I? I said I'd be shocked. You said you think he'd play midfielder. I thought no, I'd be shocked considering it's taken them a year to almost train that out of him and train him to left back. I thought it'd be the strangest thing to play him in midfield, but
no options.
Yeah, it really was just down to, he used him because he had to use him there, and I thought he was really good. He really wants to take the ball in pressure situations. He's got a really good left foot, as we know. Technically he's excellent, and he just progressed things. He was always looking forward, always looking to influence, and I think that's what we see from the left back. Look, he still has his raw bits. He still has his raw bits defensively. He can, he dwelled a couple of times today where he could have got caught and things like that. The odd misplaced pass, but I really like what I saw from him. I think that's one of the big positives of the back end of last season. He lit a little fire that West Ham game, and it's continued to burn for him. I think he's been one of the real bright sparks. And we're talking about summer business last year. Before we come on to can we call it summer business this year? I'm not sure. We can go
June 30th and July 1st business,
which we just asked Eddie Howe about, didn't we? And we'll obviously see what we thought he said and things like that from this. But the summer business last year was Barnes, Livramento, Hall, Tonali, and really it was very underwhelming as to how much it actually impacted the team. You had a flash at the end from Hall, and then flashes. Peppered, yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was injury stunted spells from Tino Livramento, and I think we want to see a fit and firing Tino Livramento.
Saw him back today as well after missing the pre-season opener in Germany, but
he's a cracking athlete.
Yeah,
you get up and down that pitch, and if you've got Hall on the other side, then he's got the real quality of delivery as well, so they almost complement each other. You do need a little bit of different points of difference, and they are very different players. Livramento is a very different player to Kieran Trippier in many ways. Trippier is all about the delivery and the quality. Livramento needs to improve in that department. He admitted that himself to you, didn't he, when you were away in Germany? But he's an absolute athlete, whereas Hall on the other side's got the real quality, and I think it's a nice little balance, I think.
I just think because you've touched on the right back situation, it might be relevant to touch on sort of Trippier. And because obviously there was photos emerged on social media yesterday of Kieran Trippier checking into a flight at Newcastle Airport to Dubai. Went viral. Lots of sort of speculation around his future, but the top and bottom line is that he's been given extra time off, and him and Anthony Gordon won't be in Tokyo with the team. So essentially he's gone there for a holiday, and then I'd imagine, because he went there, was it in April when he was recovering from a calf injury, do a bit of work out there and then come back to Newcastle, pending obviously his future, which is still up in the air. As we've said on this channel many times, there's interest from Saudi Arabia. Whether that materialises, it remains to be seen, but yeah, I wouldn't read, well, you can't read anything into him not being in Japan because he's been given the time off as well as Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, I mean,
run through that. When did he say that he thinks players will be in the mix? Miggy's going to go across.
Miggy, Bruno will be later.
No, I thought he said Cher and Almiron are coming across with them.
Yeah, sorry,
that's right. Yeah.
Bruno, Martin Dubravka, they'll come to Japan. Anthony Gordon, Kieran Trippier will be the week after, so they will return in the build-up to the Seller weekender.
I actually think, you know what, it's just the mad nature of the way football's been scheduled over the last few years that it's the right thing to do. They're actually doing right by the players on Trippier, and in particular Anthony Gordon, who's barely had 3 or 4 days rest over the last couple of years because of international tournaments being scheduled. Just the nature of it, it's ridiculous actually. They're lessening and cheapening, they're diluting the product of football. It can be amazingly good when you've got fit and firing players. Give the players a chance to be fit and firing instead of just flogging them.
Was it nearly 3 weeks since the Euro final?
Yeah.
That's no time off, especially for players. You mentioned Anthony Gordon, who basically didn't have a rest for 12 months.
No, mate, the next World Cup, it's got about 75 teams in it.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing to football, man?
It's all money.
And money-grabbing lunatics.
I thought you were going to say something else there.
No, what are you doing?
Beep.
No, money-grabbing lunatics. That's what they are. I'm not having it. Just, you know, the Euros, look, it had some great stories. I mean, we joke about Georgia being our favourite team in the tournament, but it's meant to be one for purists, man. You have all that in the bloody qualifying. What do you need? What do you need bloody 30 odd teams in tournaments for?
Yeah.
Just play the best 16. Used to be the best 16. Get them fighting against each other. The quality might not be this, that and the other, but the fact they're going to be playing less games might make it better, might make teams a little bit more fit and firing.
Yeah.
Same for the World Cup. How much more they're going to pad it out? England's group's going to have their Solomon Islands or something at this rate.
We'll go on holiday somewhere for a week and we'll be in the World Cup.
Well, yeah. Oh, anyway, that's just a totally different topic. What else have we got to talk about today? I'm off on a tangent here.
What Eddie Howe said, really.
Yeah.
I think.
Big injury news.
Yes, Jordan, take it away with
your question.
Pointed question, Eddie.
Yeah, well, Callum Wilson is going to miss the start of the season. So, I mean,
surgery.
Going to details. Sorry, surgery. Said he had an injection first, then had an operation. We'll miss the start of the season, and look, if that's not further evidence that Newcastle need a striker on the next month of the transfer window onwards, and I don't know what is. We said it even with Callum Wilson, Newcastle need a third striker, and then they desperately need one now because they can't run the risk. I've said this several times. They can't run the risk of just going with Alexander Isak for games next season, because he's only a player that can break down as well. So yeah, there's a big frustration with Callum Wilson. Every time you tweet about Callum Wilson now, there's a big reaction on social media, because I just think it's hit that point where it doesn't seem to be any end to this Callum Wilson injury saga. hamstring injury, and then he comes back, and then obviously it was a sort of freak pectoral injury, and then I think he came back last season, had another hamstring injury for a couple of games, and then this season he joins at the start of pre-season and then end up just pulling a whatever it is, a disc in his back or whatever.
Disc, which didn't sound good. We're not medical professionals.
Doesn't sound great, does it?
If you need surgery on your back a few weeks before the start of the season, it's. But Eddie Howe did say like he should be back not long into the season.
So I'm seeing a silver lining.
You think it forces their issue?
Look, we've said it on here, and it's a joke we always have because we never rated Chris. Well, I didn't rate Chris Wood. You might have probably. I don't think you did. Chris Wood.
You need him.
Right, but we had 3 strikers then,
yes.
And we had options, and we could use. You know, you could mix the minutes up. 3 strikers is what they need. This could be. And they're not doing any transfer business at the moment, by the way. Eddie Howe just literally said nothing is close. That's not what you want to. It's not what you want to hear. Nothing is close though. But it might force the hand a little bit. If Callum Wilson can say maybe miss the first month of the season, it might make them go and get that 3rd striker that they desperately need. And then you've got 3 options, although one of them will be injured most of the time. 3 options.
It was
to go at, which they've had to do that.
I'm just saying that the last, well, I say last Callum Wilson injury, a previous Callum Wilson injury forced Newcastle to go inside Alexander Isak.
It did.
Yeah. So maybe history might be.
Come on, Callum.
But the thing is, does Callum Wilson's injury, there's obviously speculation over his future, his injury rule him out of a summer move?
Well, that's what I'm saying, So it almost, that's the double-edged thing, that it means he probably won't move, and they also need to replace him at the same time, so it might, for a short period at least, have 3 strikers. How amazing would that be?
Right.
God.
They'll probably just not sign one.
We've seen Ben Parkinson today, played well.
Actually, we can talk about that. Like, we did see players for the first time. We saw Trevor Sanusi, who I was impressed with, came off the bench on the left wing. Ben Parkinson, obviously, we've seen bits and bobs of. Johnny Emerson, who I know you like, Liam.
I do like.
So Alfie Harrison as well.
Can we just caveat this first, though?
Yes.
I want this to be really clear, because I see so many in-the-know dafties talking about like
how great they are.
Yes. Oh, they're going to be involved in the first team now. If you've seen this game today, I thought all of those players mentioned, every single one of them, that's why I kind of looked when you said Ben Parkinson, all these players mentioned have all got potential bright futures in football. Some of them will be at Newcastle United, some won't be. But I think it's so obvious if you've seen any of that game that Trevor Sanusi, and in particular Alfie Harrison, look absolutely nowhere near the physical build to be able to play Premier League football yet. They look, even if you compared their physical build to a lad who's been around the first team for a couple of years, who probably, let's be honest, won't make it in Newcastle United, Jay Turner-Cook, right, who's gone up to St Johnstone, played a little bit up there, he was alright today, played in other leagues. Just stand them next to each other physically. A lad who's a couple of years older, who's been in and around first team squads and building muscle, building physicality. Those lads are some way off. I mean, you're talking about Trevor Sanusi. I thought he was brilliant. Like, I've seen lots of positives from him, but please don't take these words to suddenly think,
oh, he's
Almiron's replacement. No. And the same for Alfie Harrison. I've seen some people suggesting when Elliot Anderson went, and even it was a conversation we had, that you'd think maybe a few years down the line he'll fill that role that Anderson has in the squad. I would be very doubtful. It would take some turnaround in performance for him to suddenly replace him this season. He still looks a little way off. Physically, he looks a long way off, in my opinion. And I thought that, I don't know if I ever said it on the Geordie Journos, but I definitely said it with you guys, having watched him. You've seen 21's games as well. We've seen it together. He was playing the same role as Anderson, the same role as Joe Linton, and trained in the position, and looks good. Looks like a lad who wants the ball all the time, and I like that. Comes in straight into the team and is confident. And he's 19 in about a month and a half, 2 months' time, so he's getting to an age where you think he's going to have to start moving on. And you can tell that he left Man City to move on. But physically, his physical build and stature, he doesn't look anywhere near ready. That might come, it's going to have to come, but he'll probably have to take a bit of time of being around the first team for a year. Might take 18 months, might take 2 years, but he looks like a lad who's got the talent to do it. But please, let's not jump off a cliff and suddenly think these lads are going to be filling first team slots, because it's just not going to happen. And look, again, if that happens and they're brilliant and do it, look, you can clip it up and say what you want, but that's brilliant. I'll be delighted. It's just on the evidence that we've seen so far, the 21s and what we've seen in Newcastle, they're still a long way off.
What I will say, it's probably chalk and cheese to Lewis Miley came on the scene last pre-season and you went, right, he looks like a player ready for the first team.
Oh, no
He's
doubt.
playing against Chelsea, Brighton, Villa, whoever he played against last pre-season, and he looked like a man playing, even though he was just 17. And he eventually came into the first team and did a job.
Elliot Anderson did.
Yes.
There's you can tell, and your gut feeling suggests all of the ones we've seen today, none of them are ready.
This coming season.
This coming season, yeah. That doesn't mean there won't be brilliant players for Newcastle moving forward, but it's a lot to expect of those type of players. Alfie Harrison in particular hadn't played 21. I think he played.
He was mainly under 18s.
Yeah, he played under 18s football up until he signed for Newcastle United.
I think he played maybe one
game at 21s level at Man City. To suddenly expect him to be jumping in and taking the first team slot is some joke. It's just, it's people who say things like that genuinely don't really understand the process of how players make it at football clubs, because those lads look like talented footballers, but they need that experience, and I would suggest a couple of them need to fill out a bit.
Aye. What I will say about Sanusi though, I mean 12 months ago he was under 16s level. He's just recently turned 17, recently signed a pro contract. He comes on today, his first team appearance, just fearless. He was running, he was pacey. He had a bit of a physical battle with the Hull players. I mean, whether he came out on top, probably not, but won a couple of free kicks, corners. I think
he looks quite clever.
I was really impressed with him, full of energy, and I'll be watching him keenly for the 21s, under 21s this coming season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward, and I think that's a real sign of how much you've mentioned it before. You're hearing the really rate him.
Really rate him. Yeah, he's really high rated behind the scenes. So I don't know how they quite view his development path, but it's clear that there's a talent there, and you've seen that in flashes today. I'd imagine probably another season within the 21s and maybe a loan spell. I don't know how these things work, but I think Newcastle's certainly got a player on the hands that they think can develop into the next big thing, if you like. But as the points to touch upon, he's got a long way to go, as do a lot of the other under 21s.
He's only just turned 16 as well.
17.
Just turned 17.
Yeah.
Because he's only just signed his first pro contract, which.
So he's even a year behind Harrison in many ways. So these lads have got to give them time.
Yeah.
They'll all develop at their own speed. Some of these lads might not turn into players till 21, 22. It happens. Everyone develops at a different time. You just look at, for example, I know he's divided opinion this summer, but goal scorer Harry Kane. He wasn't really at top level until he was in his 20s.
Yeah,
it took him a bit of time to develop. It happens at different ages for all players. Then you'll have somebody like Wayne Rooney, who probably could have played Premier League football at about 13. It's all different. Yeah. And I think even looking at those two, if you want to I've seen them both. I've seen them, particularly Harrison, play, and I think he looks a little bit off. I think he still looks as though he needs developing technically. And I like his confidence. He just came on and demanded the ball in pressure situations immediately when he was in that Joe Linton role, and I like that. But let's not get too excited. That's all I'll say on them, because I know people do, and it's like it puts pressure on them. And then when it doesn't happen, it's like, oh, what's happening to him? Why is he not doing this?
People just want a reason to get excited. There's no new signings. They're like, right, come on.
Yeah, and I'm dampening it.
Let people enjoy football, man.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll enjoy football.
We're back, 4,500 Newcastle fans enjoyed it.
Yeah, they were loud and good, and I think it was a good atmosphere. It was a good day. It was a decent game of football. Actually, Eddie Howe mentioned it, and I did think they posed quite a few interesting problems. They're a strange side, quite different the way they. So you saw, I've never seen Alexander Isak have to do so much tracking and chasing, because the way their players moved around constantly, it was incredible. Newcastle tried to go man for man and press them, and then you would get the centre half pulling out the left back and then dropping into midfield, and Isak was sort of going, wait there, what am I having to do here? Running all over the pitch.
He had his hands out.
He did. It was quite clever. It was quite clever, the type of football that they played. I liked it. It was good to watch.
Their manager was a happy chap as well when he came in the press room.
He was good, wasn't he?
Really happy, enthusiastic.
Good. Once again, the cameras were off as well, so you see a different sort of side to managers, I think, when the cameras aren't there. And that manager just basically said every player linked with Hull was a good player, which was nice, more than what Eddie Howe said.
So back to Eddie Howe then. You kind of thought he seemed frustrated. We weren't. I didn't get that sense. Neither did you. But he was asked a number of questions. I asked him if he was frustrated. I can't even remember what he said.
He said, I think naturally every manager in my position is frustrated, because you want more, and your job ultimately relies on results and recruitment, etc. So he didn't say frustrated in the context I think we Or you've maybe suggested, or based off like last week's conversation, I think he's just frustrated the fact that they haven't signed many players in the transfer window, and that's just a sort of overall thing across the board.
He did also hint at last week's, he said a lot has been made of it, and then tried to almost dampen it, I thought.
Yeah, there was a lot made of it because, and you touched upon it there, managers have a different side when the camera's off, and we've done a video on this as to why Eddie Howe is different. We didn't purposely come out of that room and make a big deal of it. There was a big deal of it made because of the way we were made to feel in that room and the way Eddie Howe.
Whether it was deliberate or not, as we've mentioned, and we'll just
everyone felt it though. Like speaking to you guys and other people who were in the room at the time, it felt like that was definitely the emotion. And I mean, I trust you guys, but I probably half a dozen journalists or media professionals saying the same thing is fair enough.
I think he gave two very different interviews, not to go over the all details again, but he gave two very different interviews. He gave a set of interviews with the camera rolling, and he gave a totally different interview with the camera not rolling and tapes rolling for us. And believe that or don't, it's entirely up to you. We just say as we see. You'll always get that from the Geordie Journos. We'll always just say as we see. And you guys, this is the exciting bit, you guys will be saying as you see from the other end of the planet.
Yeah.
In a couple of days' time.
Tokyo.
I'm about to drive you to.
I know it's.
This is a classy gesture.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We use a paying the petrol, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's a classy gesture from you. You're not going, but you're dropping us off at Manchester Airport.
We've got to get you.
Jordan's in business class, and you're not going.
Did you book business class?
No, the budget didn't allow.
He was going to get a slap on the wrist there. No, so obviously there'll be loads of Geordie Journos content. I think we're going to, look, these guys have got busy jobs. Shields Gazette, Newcastle United Writer, Newcastle World, Newcastle United Writer, all the content will be going on those websites. One thing I will stress on this is that's the day job, so that is going to have to take priority in many ways. We love the Geordie Journos, but what we're going to do is a little bit of an approach, if you guys agree with this. It'll be quality over quantity, so we'll make sure you'll probably get at least one really good quality video from Japan, probably a couple.
Depends who you ask.
Depends how it unfolds.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We might run into a massive story over there, and then we'll just have to make a video then and there.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll just get as many videos as you possibly can fit into your workload, because it's going to be busy for the Shields Gazette and Newcastle World.
I'll plug Newcastle World and Shields Gazette as well, because there will be plenty of content on there.
There will.
Let's say if you want more videos, there'll be probably I endeavour to do a day diary as a video, so if you don't,
well, yeah.
if you're missing the Geordie Journos because I've not done a video in a couple of days or whatever, then tune in to Newcastle World or Shields Gazette to see mine and Dom's faces on for a day diary.
And I'm quite happy to be taking a week off from waffling. So the next time you'll see me will be
ShotsTV Monday night.
ShotsTV on Monday night. Do tune in, channel 276. One of those things. Do you ever, anybody out there, do you have these things that just will not stick in your brain? I cannot get that to stick. What channel Shots is on? I love ShotsTV. It's amazing, but I can't work. I would never be able to find it if I know. What was it? Channel 276?
Go on. Yes.
Yes. Right. Four Rivers. You know the drill. Up there, down there. There's a bell. Click on that if you love what we do. What else? Like, comment, share, subscribe.
All that.
And do say thanks if you've got a little couple of pennies to spare. We'll happily put that back into the channel.
Pay for my business class.
Yeah, £1,000 to spare.
Please pay for these two guys to go business class to Japan.
While Liam's driving home at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, we've got you booked on the Chinese equivalent of Ryanair.
I think so, yeah. So the telly's in the back of the seat, which is an upgrade. But I think
you'll be sitting like this for 11 hours.
Yeah.
It's champagne problems, man.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I shouldn't complain.
Not too much champagne on the expenses, please, Dom. Not this time, anyway. We know what you're like. Right. Right. We're waffling.
Yeah, we've waffled a lot in this video again, to be honest.
Shots. You know where to find, bro. You'll see you on Monday night, and like I say, do like, comment, share and subscribe. Anything left to add, lads, before we sign off?
That's it. See you in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.